I am Federico Colli. I am a pianist. I started this adventure in music when I was 3 years old. I started with the drum. I play on the plate with fork and knife. I have my career. Probably because in 2012 I won the Leeds piano competition, which is one of the greatest competition in the world. It was challenging. The competition was more than 3 weeks, so let's say nearly a month. I practice 8-10 hours per day, a lot of pressure. The only thing that you can rely on is your preparation. Find the right balance in Mozart is always one of the most difficult things in the history of music. You always have to conquer the beauty, the truth, and the audience. It's a pleasure to be here to have this conversation. I am Federico Colli. I am a pianist. I come from Italy, the north part of Italy. My city is Brescia. I am a concert pianist. Actually, I am 35 years old and I started this adventure in music when I was super young. I mean, let's say 3 years old. Actually, the funny story is that I started with the drum, not with piano. I started to play on the plate while eating with fork and knife. And my dad and my mommy was fascinated about that and say, oh, maybe he has some kind of talent in music. And my mom is a biologist and my father is a technician in the hospital. So it is all this medical and scientific part, a very rational job. So they were not prepared about a talented musician in families. So they said, okay, he's able to make this rhythm on the plate with knife and fork and give him a drum. And I was very happy to play a drum. And then suddenly a very close friend of my family who is a philosopher, a composer, a poet in Brescia came to our house and said, maybe drum is a great instrument, but in a way limited because he basically has only the rhythm, not the melody, not the harmony. And he is a pianist, this guy, Alberto Bonera. Actually, that's a funny story. I'm going to play in Belfast the Mozart 467 piano concerto and the 2 cadenzas. Mozart didn't write the cadenza or has been lost, this cadenza, so the pianist has to write himself the cadenza or choose another cadenza of another composer or another pianist. I'm going to play the cadenza written by this composer, who was the first person to suggested me to start to play the piano. So that's a super funny story. And his guy came to my house and say, why don't let him try to play the piano? And so very smoothly and as a super normal thing, I started to play piano and I started this adventure in music. And I started as a game. And then at the age of 8, 9, 10, I understand when I started to study seriously at the conservatory, I developed my consciousness also, say that playing piano is something very serious. You have to dedicate 100% of your time. And then after diploma in Milan Conservatory, I followed the lesson by Konstantin Boginov and Boris Petroshansky, 2 big Russian teachers. And at that time, I started to make my first performances in Italy and in Europe and take part in my first competition. So it was very natural development and very natural career. I'm able now to travel all around the world and have a management and have my label, probably because in 2012 I won the Leeds piano competition, who is certainly one of the biggest competition in the world, very challenging, very distinguished competition. I won the first prize, and after that I started another challenging chapter of my life, so the proper concert career. The Leeds piano competition, I mean, it of course, is one of the greatest and most distinguished competition in the world. The history of the Leeds piano competition is amazing. I mean, Raduluppo, Mitsuko Shida, Andras Schiff, many great pianists attended the competition. during the past editions. It has been a long competition because nearly a month. So a good 3 weeks of competition with 4 rounds, the final round with the Halle Orchestra conducted by Sir Mark Elder, live in BBC4. I mean, a lot of pressure, and then a lot of journalists and newspaper from Independent, Guardian, Times. I mean, and I was very young at that time. I was 23 years old. So it was in a way new and unexpected because I spent all my life practicing in front of the piano. It was challenging, yes, because the repertoire was big, but I must say that I was very well prepared, and the leads take place every 3 years in the last part of the summer, so end of August, something like this. And I remember I spent all the summer here on Garda Lake at my house alone. I mean, only with my piano. I practiced 8-10 hours per day, all the repertoire of the list. So I was able to stay here for 3 months, all the summer, alone, just with my music, finding inspiration in the nature, walk in the nature by the lake. So I arrived at the Leeds piano competition very well prepared. That's the only thing that can save me, always that can save me on stage. On stage, you are alone. The only thing that you can rely on is your preparation, how much you studied, how much the dedication you spent in front of the piano. But yes, it was very much challenging, yeah. It was 3 rounds in solo repertoire, and the Leeds is famous because the third round, it required to perform a solo recital, so 75 minutes of music just in the third round. And then the second round, I think that I performed nearly an hour of music. And then the first round was half an hour, 45 minutes. And then the final with orchestra. So a good 2 hours of music, more. 3 hours of music, solo music, and then the concerto. I played the Emperor Piano Concerto by Beethoven. The day before my departure to Leeds, I was in Brescia at my house with my parents, and my mommy was helping me to make the luggage. Actually, it was hypothetically, a very big luggage because the competition was more than 3 weeks. So let's say nearly a month. So they say, oh, mommy, I have to prepare a very, very big luggage. And I say, Federico, she said to me, just take one shirt to play on stage. And I say, mommy, why just one shirt? Maybe you don't pass through the second round, so take just one. Take it easy. It's okay. Take just one shirt. So I arrived at the Leeds competition with just one white shirt, elegant, to go on stage. And then I used for the first round. I used for the second round. I used it for the third round, and then it was completely wet. Completely wet. And they say, oh my God, what I had to do. So I had to ask the organizers, the organization of the Leeds piano competition, please, could you help me to clean it, please, to clean it? And they were very, very happy to help me, of course. And it was a funny story. But yes, that's a little bit the mentality of my family, and in general, the north part of Italy. We are very much practical. We don't want to, in the matter of practical things in life, we don't want to dream so much. Be extremely practical. So the practical thing is that you cannot pass the first round. That's it. The Mozart Concerto number 21, K467, is the concerto I am going to play in Belfast with Maestro Daniele Rustioni, who actually is a great friend of mine, and the Ulster Orchestra. Actually, is Mozart. It is, of course, demanding, and it's the pure Mozart, so it's very delicate. Actually, I must say, I practice quite a lot of Mozart piano concerti. I remember the number 9, the Genome Concerto 271, and the C minor 491. 2 very, very challenging, technically very challenging concerto. But I must say that the number 21 is very difficult. It's virtuosistic, is very difficult. There are some passages in the first movement and in the middle of the third movement. Oh, damn. You have to practice. It's tricky passages. It's very uncomfortable. It's written in a way non-pianistic, in a non-pianistic way. Sometimes, and that was bizarre. It was strange for me while practicing, because I say, oh, that's very uncomfortable for Mozart. I mean, but that's this concerto. I mean, it's written in a very strange way. I mean, I'm speaking pianistically, so just in the matter of pianistic things, and so very detailed. It is difficult. So first thing, you have to study, make sure that technique is sure, because it's difficult. And then always Mozart is a delicate composer, because of course you have to play with expression, with feelings, but you have to put all these things, feelings, expression, dynamics, agogics, in a measure, let's say in a frame, because if you play with too much feelings, you are romantic. If you play too much strict, it is maybe baroque, or you result cold to the audience. So find the right balance in Mozart is always one of the most difficult things in the history of music. Speaking about the second movement, for example, one of the most pure line melody ever written, very easy, very simple, very smooth, but still difficult, where the phrase is going. Fa, do, la, fa, do, si, la, sol, fa, sol. The phrase go to the up, si. So the climax point is the up C, or is the F sharp? Si, la, sol, fa, sol. I mean, it's easy because you can sing under the shower. It's easy, it's so beautiful. But then when you look at the score and say, okay, let's reason about this melody. Where does it go? Where does it go? Is it full sound, so is a full voice, or is it just whispered? It's delicate. It's delicate. So all these reasons, all these circumstances, all these impressions and images and feelings you have to put in a balance, and it's very delicate to reach that goal. Actually, I must say that the orchestra has a very important role in this concerto, because it's most of the time, especially in the development, is more concertato part. So the piano is an instrument inside the orchestra. So very much the piano dialogues with the flute, with the oboe, with the strings. So it is a sort of making a chamber music with the orchestra. And that's very challenging, of course, but beautiful, beautiful. Having the audience from my side, because it is a very famous piano concerto, is always good, but it is very much possible that the audience knows this music very well, so their expectation is very high. Of course, the second movement is very famous. Everybody knows the melody of the second movement, but since everybody has in their ears this melody and this music, their expectation is very much high. So you have the audience by your side, but you still have to conquer their sympathy and their empathy. At the end of November, I'm going to play Shostakovich Piano Concerto No. 1 in Milan, and then in Glasgow with the BBC Scottish. Absolutely terrific music, but it's not so immediate like Mozart. So yeah, in a way you have to prepare the audience, in a way you have to make something in music always to the music, something to discover the beauty in this music and show the beauty and the truth in this music with all your capacity, all your power. So you always have to conquer the beauty, the truth, and the audience. That's it.